everyone, it's Crystal Swearingen with Crystal Spot Podcast. Super excited to come to you today to discuss something that's kind of going on everywhere in every market, and that is the housing market shortage. So, as you guys know, I do the magazine and the podcast, but I also full time own a residential real estate brokerage that's located in Lawrence, Kansas, but we do Kansas, Missouri, and I'm also licensed in California with a company called Nest Seekers. So we all have seen the news and we read all the reports about interest rates. We've seen the Treasury go on the news and tell everybody about raising rates, and we've seen the cost of everything. And I know a lot of people are really worried and scared about what's going on. And here, what we'll see, because real estate is local, even though a lot of the trends that we see nationally come down and affect us in our regional, state, and local, um, we just don't have enough inventory, and it's pretty significant shortage. From what I would understand, like I said, I'm not an economic expert, but just I've been in this business for 15 years. I've owned my own company for the last almost four, and I've run a real estate team prior to that. What we're seeing is there's been a disconnect between what communities need in terms of housing supply, builders, infrastructure, and what cities are looking to do. And so some cities have done extremely well and they're thriving and they have amazing things happening. And then some have been a little bit slower to the take to what our new way of living is. I mean, with COVID, a lot of people got to work virtually. So people were moving from their home states to different states because they could work online and they could maybe live in a place where their dollar stretched a little bit more. As people are returning back to the workforce, that is becoming harder because then they may not be able to find that new house where they're going, or the cost of rent has gone up as well as the housing cost has gone up. So I want to talk specifically kind of about my neck of the woods, which is that Kansas City area, in Lawrence, Kansas, which is about 40 minutes from Kansas City for those of you who aren't really geographically aware. But what we're seeing is we have a ton of new opportunities in businesses. We have a new plant coming to town. We have quite a few jobs coming with that. And what we're expected to see is close to 1,100 new people moving into our community. And my question is, where do we house them? That's been the conversation for a couple years about affordable housing. And then it's migrated into what's accessible housing and workforce housing and low income housing. There's so many things, but the key underlying component of all of that is we need housing. We need housing stock. And with interest rates going up and then down, and it's just been like on this cycle since before Thanksgiving, people don't want to leave that good interest rate they locked into 5 years ago at 3% to go into the unknown of a 6% interest rate. Now, I don't know what they are right this second. They change. So, but let's say 6% as just an example for this. What is going to entice someone to pay double the interest? Well, I think there's another way to look at it. And that conversation comes with, what are your long-term goals and strategies? Is it better to buy now while there's a few buyers that are watching the news and a little bit scared to enter the market and have less competition? Is it better to sell while your equity in your house is probably at an all-time high? I would estimate, based in our community, I think our taxes went up about 16%, our property taxes last year, and they went up significantly this year. You have more equity in your home than you've ever seen. So it might be time to really sit down with a trusted local realtor and discuss with them all of your options, whether that be sell the house to buy the new house, make your house an investment property to take advantage of those low interest rates and then buy to the next house, or, a combination of ideas. I've seen quite a bit over the years, the concept of multi-generational housing coming into play because as housing inventory is low, families are combining in whatever way, or people are having roommates just to really make the housing more affordable for everyone. So there's a lot of different things to consider. And this week, it's March 16th, so I don't know when you're gonna watch the video. We've had all the news about the banks in California, things crashing. And like I said, I'm not an economist. I'm just monitoring all these things just because I like the data. And also, I'm licensed in the state of California. I just want to see what's happening and where people are thinking when it comes to where they're investing their money. And I got my license in 2007. So most of you know we had a housing market crash around that time. When I got licensed, everyone said, "Oh, it's a terrible time. What a horrible idea. I don't know why you get your real estate license." But one of the things that I really thrived on was sitting down with homeowners and talking to them about these complicated situations they were in. I immediately got educated. I took all the classes possible. I got certified to work with short sale and foreclosure as a resource expert and really tried to learn how I could sit down face to face and we could solve problems together. Part of why my brand or my moniker is Crystal Saves the Deal is because I don't try to give up. I want to always find solutions. And when we've been in this real estate market, that's kind of been a unique situation where everything's selling so fast, you're getting 16, 20 offers. You don't really have to find as many solutions when everything is flowing. But as we get in a more difficult environment where you're going to have to be creative and you're going to have to look at things outside the box. And I never participate in being in a box. So that's never an issue for me. But you're going to have to really determine, what your next move is. And so when I got licensed and everyone was trying to tell me this was not the time to be a realtor, I really enjoyed the process of learning everything I could and becoming a valuable resource to my clients. Sitting across from them to hear why they weren't able to pay their mortgage and why we were now facing a short sale. And for those who don't understand, a short sale is when you attempt to sell your house lower at an amount lower than what you owe the bank. And there was a lot of that. People had medical bills. I had clients who had cancer. I had divorce, people getting laid off and not being able to find work. And there was a lot of situations. Now, I don't think that we're in that market right now because of the fact that most people have equity in their home. But when you get behind on your payments, even with equity, it's easy to panic and think that it's just over. And what I want to leave with you guys is that even though the housing market is on the news and the interest rates and everyone's so scared of everything that's going on, it is so important to find a trusted realtor who can walk you through what your options are because you're never without one. There's always something we can think of. And I say the word realtor because that's people who are part of a National Association of Realtors who subscribe to the Code of Ethics. And typically, we are working to be more professional, um, and really take this like as a profession, not a hobby. This is like my career. This is what I'm building for my family, my legacy. And opening my own company was a dream come true, and I hope to pass that to my children if this is the role and the road they would like to take. So as we're getting into the busiest time of the year, historically March is usually when most contracts are written around the country. We still are seeing a shortage of inventory. I know right here in Lawrence, Kansas, we have, yesterday I checked, under the price of 250, we had 6 houses for sale in all of the MLS. That's not even just in my town. This is outskirt areas. If you go under a million, you're still not seeing a lot of options for people. So we are looking at low interest. We're looking at low inventory. We don't have enough construction going to make that disparity go down because we need the new homes for people to move from one house to the next house, the move up buyers, and we don't have a lot of entry level homes. So sounds like a lot of problems, but if there are solutions, and if you're thinking about selling your house or you want to learn about what solutions may work best for you, please give a realtor in your community a call. If you're in the Kansas City, Missouri, or California area, you can call me. But if you aren't, I mean, there's great realtors, and message me if you have any questions specifically. Like I said, the Crystal's Corner that we're going to be providing on occasionally with the podcast will more be ways for me to share with you things I know. The last topic was communication in business and the necessity of being precise and communicating. And this one is more about housing market and what your options are as a homeowner or someone looking to buy a house, or what's even going on with the housing market. So I hope I gave you a little bit to think about. And as always, you can message me if you have any more questions or comment below. And I look forward to shooting the next show with you guys. This episode is brought to you by Crystal Clear Realty. Buying or selling, the choice is crystal clear.